listening to Inside Real Estate, your source for all things mortgage and real estate related. The show that brings you all the hottest topics and insights directly from those who know it most. Now sit back and enjoy the show.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Inside Real Estate. I am your de facto host, Sal Cusimano. Paul isn't here today. Hopefully he might be able to come on the show halfway through or whenever. But yeah, how's everyone doing this morning?
Doing well.
Good. Yeah, we have Scott Muska with Built Technologies on the show today. Scott's got a lot of experience in the mortgage business, coaching, basketball, athletics. What don't you do, Scott?
Yeah, it's funny. Like it's funny. People say, "Hey, like, how's it going?" And then you usually say, "Well, it's easier to talk about what's not going on."
Yeah,
kind of like that. But yeah, you guys. First off, thanks for having me here. You know,
of course.
I mean, I've kind of poked around in some of the past work you guys have done in some of your previous episodes. You guys do good work, man, and it's relevant, timely stuff for people to live, work, and play in the space that you guys are in every single day. So I'm honored to be here, man, for sure.
Yeah, no, of course we appreciate that. Glad to have you. And you know, it's funny. I said before the show, I feel like we've met before because we kind of fight in the same trenches, right? So,
That's right.
Why don't you give a background as to how you started and how you got to Built Technologies and what Built Technology does?
Sure, absolutely. First off, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention this. I love the intro music with
the British lady.
It's like the sound of the needle on the record player, old school style. And as a Gen Xer, I really appreciate that. I want to let you guys know.
Yeah,
that's good.
That's the bit of Paul. We're a little bit younger here, but
awesome. Well, you know what? None of us are smarter than all of us, right? I mean,
that's true.
But yeah, guys, the life is I spent 10 years coaching collegiate basketball and professional, and then I got in the private sector. And when I did that, I entered my time in the mortgage business for the first time, working at Quicken Loans. And so,
how did you go from Sports to Quicken?
Yeah, that was my question. Was
that's a great question, man. I'll tell you what. I mean, in coaching, you're moving a lot, and you're working 100 hours a week, and you're making like anywhere from 18 to 30 grand a year as an assistant coach.
Right.
And it got to a place just personally where me and the family just decided, like, all right, it's time to take my skills to South Beach and start earning some cash and putting my powers to different use. And so I looked at this market research. Basically, I remember looking it up, and I was like, this Quicken Loans company, they're doing things, and I thought I want to be a part of something like that. So I interviewed and was lucky to be a part of the team.
I assume you didn't use that line at your interview, now that it was probably out yet, but that you wanted to take your skills to South Beach.
No, I didn't say it then.
Yeah,
I'm saying it now. Right. Oh, yeah, that would not be good. Yeah, they'd have got on.
No.
That's funny.
Did you send it? Yeah, did you send that in Comic Sans?
Yeah, Comic Sans, the whole shoot. Yeah, they would probably be upset if I said that.
Yeah.
That's funny.
But yeah, no, for sure. I think that, we meet a lot of people who did something that was awesome beforehand, right? Like super valuable to society, kind of a unsung hero always, right? The coaches, the teachers, right? Who really, and it's hard. I mean, I understand, right? To coach teams and schools have budgets and whatnot, right? But like you have to live and make money, right? So
that's right.
Same thing with teachers, right? It's like they put in their work, and some of the best realtors I know were former teachers, So
good point.
So you were there a long time at Quicken, right? How long? Like
I was there for like 13, 14 years, and just did a whole bunch of different things, right? Like I was a loan officer there, mortgage banker. I was a director of mortgage banking. Got into the training and coaching space so we could scale, especially after 2008 hit. I mean, it was crazy. You guys probably lived through that. You guys understand that well.
Yeah.
Where everyone's sleeping in their sleeping bags, just, making a way out of no way and surviving that. And then coming out on the under end of that, when all the competition went away, the interest rate boom dropped overnight, basically in November. You guys remember that? And people were now writing more business than they could handle.
I think I know where I met you now.
What's that?
I said, I think I know where I met you now. I think it was in my training class at Quicken.
Oh, no kidding.
In 2011. So,
okay.
Yeah, some time ago. So, Yeah, I mean, you've gone through the ups and downs of that and seen it from the inside of the largest lender in the country, right? So, what then transitioned you into your next role, which was coaching, or?
Yeah, it was coaching, and what happened was after the '08 debacle, it was hyper growth. The
Right.
interest rates dropped, and people were, like I was saying, were writing as much business as they could physically handle. And so we had to scale at a rapid pace. And so, the teams that I was driving during the 2008 years were, they were doing well. They were doing well in comparison to others, considering the market. And so basically it was like, hey, Scott, let's scale that. We need all of our leaders and our bankers to be able to operate like this. Let's scale this. So I was, what is it? I was persuaded, but kind of told at the same time, like, you're going to scale yourself. And so we opened up this coaching game, and we just started investing in our leaders to help them teach and coach and get the most out of their people, and work with the bankers themselves to meet and exceed their potential in the craft. And so it just took off from there.
Yeah, it's funny, right? Like I personally don't necessarily have like a coach, right? I have a couple mentors I reach out to for advice and whatnot, but I feel like people who really want to get serious on growth, right? On growing, on whether that's personal, business, or whatever, they need a coach, right? And coaching's a big business that I think a lot of people, especially, I don't think you necessarily have to be just an entrepreneur or self-employed or whatever to have a coach either. But I think that's like the next level, right? You're kind of hitting a ceiling as to where you want to go, and you need someone to help you think differently, because you get stuck in your ways over time, right? And
yeah, you can't read the label from inside the bottle, right? And at the same time, it's funny, you talk about coaching, what happens is, a lot of people, it's turned into a fluffy word these days. Like, everybody's a coach now. Like, everyone's a CEO. You go on LinkedIn, hey, I'm a coach. I'm this, I'm that. And it's like, really? But you're right. You got to surround yourself with people that'll make you better. Iron sharpens iron. And those that are always thirsty to grow and develop as humans and become experts in their craft and be great leaders, they surround themselves with people where they can learn and be around and learn osmosis style. I mean, I try to surround myself with the best people ever. And I like to be the dumbest guy in the room if I can. It's something I love.
Yeah. Well, the king of the dipshits never really went anywhere, right? So
I like that. That's true. I'm writing it down right now.
Yeah.
Dipshit never went anywhere.
We're gonna write a book one day about all of Sal's little tropes. It's gonna be great.
I love it.
I feel like everyone, the saying everyone needs a coach is kind of cliche, but it's really true. And I feel like the reason why you see a lot of high level people have coaches where like most other people don't, or pay for coaching, like life coaches, whatever, is because everyone needs direction to some degree and structure, right? And when you get to the top, or you're an entrepreneur and there's no one above you, you find yourself kind of meandering down paths you probably shouldn't. And when you catch yourself, that's when you realize you need a coach, and you pay someone to do that, right? Someone to bounce ideas off of, give you direction, give you feedback. Because when you're an entrepreneur, you don't get a lot of feedback generally. And humans crave that, right? They need feedback to thrive. So coaching is a great field. I feel like there's a huge demand for it, and a lot of people haven't even realized they need it yet. But
especially in our business, right? Like, okay, 25 grand, an NMLS filing, and a credit report, office check later, you're writing loans, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
You could write one loan a year, or zero, or whatever, or you could write 150, 200 loans a month, right?
That's right.
Anything in between, same computer, same systems, everything. And what do you do with your day, right? And what do you do with your business? How do you treat your clients? How do you follow up? And all these things, it's funny because as a human, like, I know what I have to do to get business, but I don't do them all the time. No one's like holding me accountable. I mean, I need to hold myself accountable, but sometimes that's just not possible, right? You need to maybe hire someone to hold you accountable, right? Like,
Yeah, when you're at the top of your food chain, and you're the leader in your business, like to your point, there's a whole lot of things that go on. You're like, well, listen, I can't admit weakness to other people in the organization, so therefore I won't talk to anybody about what some of the things that I'm thinking about. And also, when you get perspective from somebody perhaps that's outside of your actual business, the four walls of your organization, that can be helpful too. So you're 100% right. Like, we all have to seek to find people around us to make us better, hold us accountable. And, again, there's no one that knows everything, man. None of us are smarter than all of us. You know what I mean? Like, all three of us, as an example, could probably go sit down and have a beer, you know what I mean, for 90 minutes. And we would all walk away a little better than we found each other, because all of us have something to bring to the table.
yeah, no doubt. I mean, that's absolutely true. And, it's just funny when you meet with people, what you can learn, even if we don't even know what we're going into, right? So
90 minutes at a bar with us three, I don't know that we'll be walking away. We might be staggering away.
Yeah.
Well, we might be able to work that out, because even though my organization, Built Technologies, is down here in Nashville, Tennessee, and that's where I'm at right now, I do live in Detroit. I fly back and forth very often. So I am local, sirs.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. There's a certain watering hole right next to our office we like to go to.
Yeah.
So.
I like how you guys are right downtown on Main Street there too. About as convenient as it gets.
Yes. Yes, sir. We can walk. All right. So fast forward to now.
Mm-hmm.
You're at Built Technologies. Sounds like they're headquartered in Nashville, you said, right?
That's right. That's right.
So, which is fun too. A nice little walking area as well. But explain to us that transition from where you went to here now, and what Built Technologies does, and who you can help.
Yeah, I was in after I left Quicken Loans. I partnered with some folks with a coaching technology company, which I just sold back in the fall, which was cool. I went into the consulting space a little bit, and I was doing some work with Allstate, National General Insurance, and I was minding my own business, doing my thing. And all of a sudden, my phone rang from a former partner in crime at Quicken, a guy named Bill, who was the chief technology officer, who built Rocket, by the way, the Rocket technology. Well, he was at Built, and he called me up out of the blue and said, "Muska, we need you down here at Built." And I'm like, "What the hang is Built, and why should I care?" And he says, "Come down here and check it out." So I went down there, lifted up the hood, did a little research, and I was like, holy smokes, this reminds me of what it was like at Quicken, as an example, back in the day when it was like this budding juggernaut, ready to change disrupt the whole mortgage space. The thing about Built that's interesting is, I use a lot of parallels to, like, I look at Rocket and Quicken Loans, and I look at UWM also. Those two guys in the respective space that they operate in, they're T-Rexes. And one of the reasons why they're so damn good, and one of the reasons why we're awesome at Built, is that, a lot of people run around, entrepreneurs especially, they like to run around and come up with products and widgets and things, and they run around and try to find problems to solve. When that's asked backwards, in my view. I think what you got to do is you got to go, where are the biggest problems? Where's the biggest pain? Where does that reside? And then that's create something to solve for that. And that's what we've done at Built. We've been able to do that. When you look at the construction industry, it's convoluted, it's redundant, it is messy. Matter of fact, I don't know, you guys could probably relate to this to some degree or another, I'm sure. Like, I can remember when I was a loan officer, and I would have wealth of opportunities to write like 203K loans and things like that. And I would shy away from them because I was a little intimidated by them. And even though there's more money to be made on those transactions, I was like, oh, seems like a lot, kind of complicated. It's over my head. I don't want to touch it. So I would defer it. And, and so we try to solve that a lot by offering transparency and visibility into the construction process. So here are the people that live, work, and play inside, like, the construction process, right? You've got your lenders that deploy capital. You've got your borrowers. And then you also have your general contractors, then your specialty contractors, and your suppliers. And alongside of that, you've got your inspectors. So those are all the people that kind of live in that ecosystem. But the problem that exists today is, there's so much risk, right? When you're doing like a renovation loan or a construction loan. And what they try to do is they try to chokehold the flow of money, not because they're trying to be jerks, but because they don't know what else to do in regard to trying to maintain control and make sure they're mitigating their risk. And so we solve for that.
Got it.
How do you solve for that without, do you constrict the flow of money as well? Because I understand, like, I don't really feel comfortable or wouldn't feel comfortable giving Joe Schmo contractor, we build all kinds of houses on the side of his truck, $500,000 and say, yeah, go ahead, build that. Talk to me in 13 months and we'll talk then. No, I'd rather give him maybe 75 grand here. Get some plans and let's see it, and then I'll give you another 75 grand. You can get some supplies.
That's how it works with a new construction loan, right?
Right. That's how it works now. But how do you solve for that constriction?
Okay, I'm going to start with like a really 30,000 foot level thing that we can all relate to, and then I'll go more granular for you. All right. So, for instance, have you ever had a Domino's pizza app? You get in there, you turn that bad boy on, and you order yourself a nice pie, right? Well, the cool thing is once you place your order, it says, hey, your order is accepted. Ooh, your pizza's being made. Ooh, it's in the oven. Ooh, it's being cut. Ooh, it's in the car. Hey, it's 2 blocks away. Hey, it's at your front door. So you have full transparency and visibility to every single thing that happens in regard to your pizza. Now, I want you to think about a construction transaction, right? All the players that I just mentioned, the lenders and all the people that reside, that execute on that loan inside of that lender space, the person that borrowed the money that's trying to build a house, let's say, as well as the general contractor, the subcontractors, and the inspectors. They all can see what's going on with the loan in real time and all the things that need to happen. So now I'm going to get granular. So check this out. So when you're doing a construction loan, a lot of people don't fully realize that before you even put a shovel in the ground, there are 3 underwriting processes that have to take place. We have to underwrite the borrower, of course, who wants the money to do the thing. We have to underwrite the contractor to make sure they're good. We sort of have like a lot of data there that we've collected over a series of time. And what that allows us to do is sort of have a kind of what I would consider like a credit score for contractors. So you have someone that's good at what they do, and they have a great track record of getting things done on time and at a high level. And the third underwriting component is they have to underwrite the project itself. Okay, what's the budget? What are the blueprints? Let's see the plan. Do we really believe that this plan can get done the way it's supposed to be in a timely fashion with X amount of dollars associated with it? So those are the 3 components that have to be underwritten. And then once we start construction, that's when the real pain begins. Okay, so we're talking about the movement of money, guys. Here's what happens. All right, I pour my basement. I'm a general contractor. I come in, or no, I'm a specialty contractor. That's a better example. So I come in, I'm pouring my basement, the footing and everything's dialed in. And then what happens is I invoice the general contractor. I want to get paid. Well, guess what happens then? Well, then they send the invoice to the borrower, right? Hey, I need some money there, Mr. Homeowner. And then they're like, hey, bank, here's an invoice. And then pretty soon, all these lien waivers that have to get signed come all the way back down the food chain. So you're looking at like this speed of a sundial process. Oh, then an inspector's got to come out, plan it, get the clipboard out with the loop in their eye and try to solve all this stuff. Next thing you know, you're not getting paid forever. That slows things down for everybody. What we do is we make it so everyone can see things happen instantaneously in our ecosystem, like the pizza app that I kind of talked about. When an invoice is submitted, everybody sees. Everybody. Nothing has to be forwarded or sent. And our technology makes it so people can act. They can take action on deploying, approving, not only just signing electronically the lien waivers, but the movement of money up and down the food chain. So I pour my basement now, same scenario, I'll get paid tomorrow instead of weeks, or in some cases, sadly, months. Because think about it, you're out there busting your hind end and you're working on a cul-de-sac that's being built and you just poured 4 basements. Well, you got to pay for materials, you got to pay your people, you got to pay yourself, put food on the table for your family. And meanwhile, you got to go to the next job and pony up cash up front for more materials to start that job. It's a hot mess. So this is why people move around and they don't stick with projects. They don't get paid. They're like, you know what? I'm not working for you, Sal. I'm going to go over there and work with Brad because he pays me on time. Mm-hmm. So that's
money talks.
The stickiness that exists out there and how we smooth those things over.
Yeah. I see that a lot, right? And I think one of the big things right now is, yes, how long it's taking for a home to be built, right? Mm-hmm. And some of it's supply chain, some of it's, weather, but a lot of it's probably coordinating the trades, coordinating their payment, coordinating draws from the bank, right? Like I'm building a home right now and they're doing 3 draws, right? And then the GC will pay all off of that. But in that process, right, the GC takes the money. It's not like necessarily the bank is saying this is specifically 100% allocated to these exact projects, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's what they're delivering it as, but the builder and he could go buy a car with that, right? And sell a home, put the money back in his account. I mean, granted, that's not what they're supposed to do, but I'm just saying builders are kind of like us, right? Like brokers or realtors. It's not like a lot of builders are just kind of their own thing, right? They're general contractors and they have the money that they need to deliver and pay. And obviously at the end, it's their reputation, right? But there's a lot of cloudiness, right, around the process and where the money's going versus having a system like that where this happened today, right? Here's the invoice, the draw from the bank, it's over, right? And it may even allow for a lot more draws in smaller increments, right?
Yeah, it makes it very cumbersome. And one of the things that really makes it cumbersome, and when you lift up the hood and get into a lot of the lenders that are deploying capital for renovation and construction projects, everything is done at an extreme manual level. We're talking about manila folders and Excel spreadsheets. This is how they're tracking and making sense. Well, how to execute and flow capital and move money around. It's insane.
There's not many lenders that do it at a high level, right?
Correct. And when we're changing that, that's exactly what we're impacting. The cool thing is this: the ripple effect is a great experience for everyone in that ecosystem. Like I'll even look at like LOs that are right now suffering from a situation where, I mean, my goodness, interest rates are going up. And a lot of times, a lot of lenders, and I don't want this to come off as shade to anybody, but a lot of lenders aren't really good at working with their LOs and preparing them on how to execute and live, work, play, and thrive in a purchase market. They're refi heavy. And once the refis start to dry up, they start starving. And that hurts everybody. It's a big pain in the butt, right? Like it just happens a lot. Realtors, they're over there working their butts off, trying to do what they got to do. And they're competing against 30 offers on a day and a half's time. And they're like super high offers. And they're like, what am I going to do here? How about this? Putting people in a position where we can scale now. We're starting to see this already. It's awesome. Like inventory is being created out of nothing. So imagine this. So you as a lender or a realtor, right? Realtors, hey, you want to buy this house? Let's bid on it. Bam, they get hammered. Some guy comes along with like a huge offer they just can't roll with.
Right.
2 blocks away, there's a house that's half the cost, but it's not in great shape, but it's in the same neighborhood. Basically, it's in the same school district. They can go execute on like a Fannie Home style or a Freddie Mac choice or something like that, and pay the future value of the house after construction, and they don't even know that they can do that. A realtor can create inventory out of nothing, and you guys can, as mortgage brokers and professionals, can show them that path. You want to talk about building relationships?
Yeah.
The problem is part of the problem is that it's almost too late because, like you said, interest rates are going up. These refi people are starving, and guess who's getting all the phone calls, right? So getting a realtor's time right now to go through that process and explain the opportunity and show them the value, but it's harder and harder and harder.
It's a pretty simple sell though, right? Hey, so-and-so is in a 350K bracket in Farmington Hills, whatever, right? Okay. I want you to lower that search, right? When look at, X amount of square footage because like you said, right? I mean, you could add with one of these products square footage. I mean, couldn't you? You could add a whole addition.
100% right. I can go in and find a house that say it's a ranch and it's a 1,500 square foot ranch built in the 50s, but it's in the same neighborhood. But I'm not interested in that house. I was interested in the big sexy one down the street. Right. Crap. But what I can do is go in and button that thing up. Like you said, you can add 1,500 more square feet to it, update it inside and out, and move into the thing. And a lot of people don't know that. And if they do know it, they don't execute on it for reasons that we talked about earlier. Like when I was talking about 203K loans as an example, I was like, I don't want to. Scary. People are scared because they don't understand the process. And if they do, it's too hard. And they're just like, no, but we're solving that.
Well,
they're everyone in the space.
Listen, as an LO, last week I had someone call me, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I'm going to be forthright with you. I've never written one, right? I had someone who I was going to do this for previously, and I ended up just telling him no, right? Like, I call this person, right? And same thing with this. Hey, I'm sorry. I've never done one, right? And it's a shame because it's one thing if someone requests it, right? Okay, yeah, sorry, I don't do that. But when you're trying to be creative in this space where, people are slitting each other's throats at the offer table to try to get these things, under contract. I mean, yeah, this isn't the perfect house right now, but you can make it perfect house. And that is powerful in this market.
It's crazy.
I feel like that's almost.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead.
I feel like that's almost better than a new construction to me because I don't know. New construction is overwhelming to me. I always wanted to build a house, but then I'm like, do I really want to build a house and go through that process and deal with contractors? And granted, I've never done it, right? So I'm like typical Joe Schmo. I have a little more knowledge than most, I guess, on it, but I don't think I would really want to do it. I feel like I would rather find a house that's already existing and not have to start from scratch and be able to make it my own with a loan and not have to front the cost. I feel like those programs are actually better to me than a new construction.
100%. I mean, if you think about it, like, we're dialed into our space and where we compete in and what's available out there. Like the residential construction and renovation space out there, it's like a $1.2 trillion construction space in the United States alone every year. And we're talking about 5% growth in non-residential construction this year. And the projection is like almost 9.5% elevation in residential construction and renovation this year in 2022. I mean, you just passed an infrastructure bill at the federal level. I mean, there's cheddar flying around. And so a lot of people will say, well, Scott, there's a huge labor problem. There's a problem. Here's the thing that people won't say. This is what I see is, yes, there is a labor shortage, but it's not like we think. Like what really happens a lot is, it's like, here's the deal. We didn't go to bed overnight and then all of a sudden, like Thanos snapped his fingers and all of a sudden, like there's no more construction people anymore. What's happening is it's not as much of a labor shortage as much as it is a cash flow shortage. Okay. There's a lot of people that pour the basement as an example that I talked about. And a lot of those folks, they expect to get paid on Friday. And they want cash. Pay me cash on Friday, every Friday, because that's what I do. That's how I like to roll. And guess what? That's not showing up in the stats. So there's people out there doing the work, but if they're not getting paid, cash flow problem, they're like, hey, man, listen, I appreciate the opportunity to work on this project, but I got my pick of the litter. I'm going to go over here and work on this job now. Now you got all these contractors and all this labor hopping around, going back and forth, robbing Peter to pay Paul because they got materials, people to pay, and food on the table thing they got to do. Because there's no consistency. The constriction of cash flow is there, and it's because of risk. It's all about risk. The funny thing is lenders really love it. We work with right now the top 40 of the top 100 lenders in the country right now. And it's funny, everything's manual, everything's double entry, but at the same time, the risk is there for them, but they love this because, income, property, assets, credit, right? That's what they look at to try to discern whether or not they're going to lend the money, say, for a borrower. But the thing is, it's what's elusive is the property part of that, income, property, assets, credit. The property doesn't exist, so there's risk, no collateral. Yep. So the faster they can deploy funds and start earning cash on that deployment of capital and then get the project done faster with less friction, that's actually a huge risk mitigation for them. And then they make more money because when they sell their bundles of loans on the market and they've got some construction loans baked in there, they go from 2 bips to 2.75 bips, even though 10% of the portfolio has construction loans in it because people will pay for them, especially when the end loan on those bad boys is like a 30-year fixed.
Yeah. Which they almost always are.
Yeah.
So, yeah, in my head while we're discussing this, I mean, think of the value too you can create buying and, let's say it's a 1,500 square foot ranch in Birmingham, right? Where the average square footage is maybe 300. right? The cost to build doesn't cost any more to build in Birmingham than it does in Madison Heights, right? From a perspective of
Materials and labor is the thing.
Yeah. So you're building 200 square foot, or I'm sorry, 200 square foot for 300 of value, right? 300 square foot value. So, I mean, instead of building a brand new house in Birmingham, you could do that and end up having probably a lot more equity for what it actually costs to build it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you're getting the property discounted because no one wanted to buy it.
You're 100% right. Like there's inventory sitting and hiding in plain sight for folks like yourself and for realtors to go grab and find. But what I see is a big problem out there is the status quo, and fear of the unknown or the thing that I'm uncomfortable with. That's pretty rampant out there, right?
Yeah.
And so that's rampant. We're trying to eliminate that. We're trying to make things very simple for everyone involved in the process to execute on it and get things done.
Yeah. Well, think about even with what you were saying with the contractors, right?
Mm-hmm.
The lenders are mitigating their risk by restricting the cash flow, but in turn, what they're doing is they're just pushing that risk down the line to these contractors, right? So they have to front all the funds for the materials, and they got to sit around and wait to get paid. Imagine if there was a lending process for new construction where these contractors got prepaid and the money just flowed, and how fast these projects would get done and how many contractors would be jumping to work on these projects because they're going to get paid before they even pour the concrete. Right?
I like what you're talking about right there. You're speaking my language a little bit there, Brad, because what's funny. Here's what's happening. A great phenomena starting to happen in our space with what we do at Built. And that is this. We started with working with lenders. And now what's happening is all the general contractors and all of the subcontractors that they work with, there's an upward level of pressure now. So what's happening is contractors are becoming more and more aware of Built. They're using the Built technology, and what they're doing is when they go to borrow money to build, a subdivision or something like that, they go to a bank and say, "Hey, do you guys use Built? If not, we're not going to work together because
they're pushing your product for you."
They're pushing it forward because they want to get things done. And then you know what? Like you talked about labor and that. If I'm a great general contractor, and I attract good subcontractors. I got an electrician and a plumber that we're boys. We've been working together for a while and we trust each other. I know that you do a good job. I want to take that subcontractor with me everywhere I go as a general contractor. Well, how do you create stickiness? You want to attract good subcontractors and then retain them. There's no better way to do that than show them the money, Johnny on the spot as quickly as possible and get projects done. And then instead of doing 10 projects in 2022, I can do 13 projects.
Well, just that extra security of the visibility of the communication and being able to give a sense of that they have control in some way is in a way mitigating their risk. So
kind of like the coaching, right? I mean, we're all kind of sitting here in the wild, wild west, right? And it'll get done when it gets done and you get paid when you get paid, right? Versus being accountable, and in this case, being held accountable by technology, right? It's more or less like this happened today, the funds need to come here and be dispersed to him for the work he did. And it's visible that it was done.
Let me ask you guys a question. How would you guys feel as mortgage providers where if there was a lender out there that had this process down on lock, and then what would happen is you could go out and make relationships with realtors, builders, general contractors. And then what you could do then is what your role would be is to upfront underwrite the borrower big time income, dial them all in, make sure that they're good for the cheddar. And then you ship it and package it over to the lender that you're working with. Now they have a great product. Maybe it's the Fannie Home style. Maybe they have a process for the Freddie Mac choice, whatever it is, creating that inventory out of nothing. It's a purchase, construction, or renovation situation. The lender takes it and they handle all of the movement of things that happen throughout the construction process. And you don't have to worry about it, but you still generate revenue for your people that work for you every single day by producing and generating that opportunity for the lender that's deploying the capital and managing the execution of the construction via lien waivers, inspections, and things like that. Would that be a value to guys like yourself doing what you do every day, and the folks that you're leading and doing what they're doing every day.
Absolutely. I mean, especially with where the market is, with where supply is, there's only a few things that can get us out of this mess, right? We need lower rates, we need more homes, we need a higher supply of homes, whether that's new construction, renovation, people dying, whatever it is, we need homes, right? So anything that's going to help alleviate that pressure or find a solution for that problem is going to add value no matter what, right?
Well, especially if you have a dialed in process, right? I mean, look at it from the perspective of a builder, right?
Mm-hmm.
They don't just sit like a custom home builder who needs a new construction draw loan, right? They don't really say, yeah, call whoever, send me a pre-approval. They say, no, listen, you need to call this lender because we trust them, because they pay us, because we know their draw process, we know everything that they do, and do it through them. You have the choice to use someone else, but we highly, highly, highly recommend that you use them, right? So same thing if a realtor comes across someone who wants to build a home and or build, find a fixer-upper, right? That provides the opportunity for us, right? Because we have that relationship with that lender who uses build and manages all that. And we're just essentially doing our part, which is, making sure we're not wasting anyone's time, right?
Yep.
Underwriting, writing the loan, sending it up. And then that lender who would be a part of that handles the draws and the waivers and all that. So, yeah, I mean, I think it's just to your point, right? Like how many applications can this be applied to, right? Like you said, it started out with lenders. Now it's becoming something with the contractors pushing it, right? What's the next evolution of it?
Right. I think the next evolution, I like how you're thinking, is really having influence now. Once we curate more and more data, more and more outcomes, we'll have the information. Well, what we'll do is we'll start impacting the supply chain. I mean, like we've got over $200 billion in our lifetime of movement of construction money. Like right now, as we sit here, we're managing and moving money of over $88 billion with a B in construction and renovation projects. So what we're finding is people need a better way of level setting the supply market. Like I have in North Oakland County, I have like a little mini property management thing, North Oakland Properties, not a whole bunch, a little handful of rentals, right? So I went and I go and I'm like, all right, I get a couple driveways redone. Well, I go and get bids on them and they're all over the map. This is why when a guy goes to bid on your house and build it, you'll get, hey man, I need you to pour my footing, my basement. Like how much? And you're gonna get stuff anywhere from like 20 grand to like 99 grand. And you're like, how in the hang can that be? How can that even be possible? It's because the flow of money is hemorrhaged. So what they're doing is they're hedging their bet. I'm going to charge you more, not because I'm trying to pocket more, but when I'm done with the part of the basement and I got to go ask for more money via the draw, I don't want to be sitting around on my hands waiting for more cash. I'm going to use the remainder of this cash to get the next thing going so I can pay my contractors. Like that's this shell game. So if we can use our data and our relationships and all the things that we're garnering as we move money down the field here and change this space up and provide more transparency and more visibility, we will be able to level set the cost of things and pricing of things. So now when you get 3 bids, they'll be within like a couple grand of each other instead of 5 or 1,000 or more in difference.
You're essentially blockchaining the process.
Yeah.
Right. There's
there you
multiple
go.
points of verification that everyone can see. Right.
I mean, it's a brilliant idea. I'm curious, how does Built, I guess, I want to say how does Built work, but I guess how do you make money? What is it, a subscription service? Is it do you take a portion of every transaction, or how does if you can't answer it or whatever, if it's proprietary, how does it work?
Yeah, so basically how it works for us, and we monetize our business, is much like you guys monetize your business, right? So you write a loan and you have a sliding scale of what you can offer by way of interest rates based on the market's availability and what it's offering. And you can make anywhere from, a half a point, a point and a half, 2.5 points on the money, on what you deploy in capital. Right. We do the same thing. So what will happen is we'll take a small bip of the amount of money that's moving through the construction process. So if someone's doing a a $600,000 home, if $600,000 moves through our system from the beginning to the end of that project to complete that project, then we'll get a small BIP on that from the lender.
From the lender, so the lender would pay that.
Yeah,
Or would that flow down the line as part of the build cost in the line items?
well, sometimes some lenders pass that along and some don't, because they
So it's up to them.
value in some pass it along to the borrower, you know, but some don't, because at the end of the day, you're still getting your value, because when you take your
100%.
efficiencies, your mitigation of risk, handling of more volume, more projects in the same amount of time, putting forth the same amount of effort with the same amount of resources, and you're making more. So you're getting your ROI on your business 3, 4, 5x. They don't mind paying for it.
Right. But it is flexible. There's different ways you can pass it along, you can pay for it, interesting.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's just part of the lender's margin, right?
Yeah. No, it's
how they pay their LOs, how they do whatever, right? So, yeah, that's cool.
Yep.
Cool.
And so you're not paying like a one size fit all, right? You're not like, it's not a monthly subscription. It's not like a set stone fee. It's, you know, it's like anything we want. Any business person knows that I want to pay for performance. You don't pay your mortgage loan officers that work for you a salary. You might give them a base, but really you're paying them for their performance. So you're not paying them any more or any less than what they've earned. And it's the same thing with our clients. The amount of work that they do and the amount of problems and convenience that we put together for them, solving the problems and convenience, they pay for nothing more or anything less. In line with what they're doing.
Right.
Totally lines up nicely.
Nice. Yeah.
So is this platform available all across the country? Is it only in Tennessee right now?
We're all over the place. Like I was mentioning before, like we've got $88 billion plus in capital running around out there right now with banks like all over the place. Like we work with US Bank, Bank of the Ozarks, Zions, WaFd, Regions, like those are some of the biggest, construction lenders in the country. And we're moving now into like what we call middle market. So we're working with, medium-sized lenders, credit unions, things like that. And at the same time, as I mentioned earlier, we're moving more into the general contractor and specialty contractor space as well, because they see a tremendous amount of value in it as well.
Yeah.
Now, and do you do commercial too?
Yes, we sure do. Yeah, we do commercial also. So we do both.
Yeah.
Because the process is essentially the same minus a couple of nuances, but it's, the complexity and the ferocity and the pain points and the inefficiencies. It's just crazy, guys. Like we'll go into these banks and we'll see people flying around with manila envelopes, spreadsheets, the file cabinet play, the inbox, papers just stacked up, and you're thinking, oh my gosh, like, this is how we manage a $7 million commercial property execution from underwrite to dirt, shovel in the ground to completion. This is the process. And so again, it just speeds things up, makes it more simple.
So what specifically is your role at Built?
My specific role, well, it's funny because if I had to create my own title right now, I think I'd be like the VP of miscellaneous things.
Got it.
We're in like hyper growth mode right now.
Yeah.
So I'm working with all people that reside in revenue, in the revenue portion of our organization. So that's all salespeople, that's client service, client success, implementations, marketing, and I even play around with recruiting a little bit. And it's all about like taking our processes, improving them, and getting people that have client-facing roles in the company become the best that they can be with how they engage every single one of our clients, whether they're lenders or they're contractors or whoever they are.
That's awesome, man. Like everyone needs like a captain, right? Every ship needs a captain or a first mate or whatever, right? To help everyone row in the same direction. Because if a couple people aren't, that ship's going to go off course, right? And I think that's what probably hyper grew Quicken, UWM, whatever, right? It was, the trickle down effect from the leaders pushing everyone to row in the same direction. So awesome.
Yeah, both of those organizations do such a great job, don't they? I mean, they're both, I know they're ferociously competitive with one another. and all the things that go on. We don't have to go into here, but I mean, they both specialize. I mean, man, they got great processes, great technology, good culture. And like you said, the oars are in the water, stroking in the same direction in perfect cadence.
Yeah. And most of the people that work at each probably worked at both, right?
In a lot of cases, that's true.
Yeah.
So Paul's one of them, right? I mean,
yeah, pick your team, whatever, right?
Yeah.
Or go be neutral on it. But I mean, both of them have shaped probably who, us all sitting here on this podcast today. So it's awesome to see that influence. But it was really cool to learn about all that, man. I mean, I did like a quick read up and was like, like I saw like, changing the way that money's essentially dispersed throughout this industry, and wouldn't really have an idea that was that big of a problem before we talked. So
yeah, one thing I love about doing this podcast is all the different perspectives and the different facets of essentially our industry, but really it's just our industry touches so many other industries. It's really crazy how much stuff I can learn every week when we do this show with all the different guests. It's great. Whether or not anyone listens or not, I like it.
You know what would be really cool to do, whether it's on a podcast or if it's just like I kind of mentioned earlier, tongue in cheek, but like literally like burger and beer style, like get a local general contractor, get a realtor that you guys have good rapport with, and then get you guys and go talk about this stuff, because I can already start to see as we've talked together, like there's threads.
I'll set a meeting.
To dial that in where you guys can capitalize, your people that you're leading don't have to starve themselves out of the business, or at least it mitigates some of the pain. Realtors don't have to, I mean, they can create inventory out of nothing.
Call me when you're back.
I will. Well, actually, I'll tell you right now, just so you have it. I'm in town all next week, and then I'm back on the road again for like another month straight. But next week I'm home all week. This weekend and next weekend as well. So if something works, shoot me a line.
Yeah, I'm going to send myself an email right now. How can people get a hold of you? What's your best way to get a hold of?
Yep, the best way to get a hold of me is I'll give my my email and my cell. Email is scott.muska@getbuilt.com. You can call me. I don't care. I'm like 7-Eleven. I'm open for business all the time. 313-289-1767. Just text me or call me anytime. And then last but not least, if you want to really dig into the bowels of the business of what Built is, why they exist, and why you should even care, go to www.getbuilt.com and do a little recon. When questions formulate in your mind, call me or, chat online or reach out to somebody and kick the tires and see where it takes you. Because the status quo's got to go, guys. We can't keep carving our pumpkins from the top, right? You guys know the story. You can't do that. We keep doing things over and over again the same way. And we don't ever question it. Just that's the way it's always been done. But if you carve your pumpkin from the bottom, the hole's bigger. Put the handle down, you light it, you still got a handle, you put it on there. Well, it's the same thing in our business. We're finding a way to create inventory out of nothing in an environment that requires inventory in a rising rate environment so we can all win.
Awesome, man. We love it. Well, we're getting a little short on time here, so we're going to do 3 questions. We do it every episode. The first question we typically ask is, what scares Scott Muska?
Ooh, personally, at a personal level, what scares me is not exceeding my potential, my God-given gifts. People, like they always say ignorance is bliss. I kind of feel like there's traction there, because like some people can sleep at night real well because they've kind of outkicked their coverage, and I won't be able to rest or feel good, and I'm always going to be scared until I do that. So
I'm going to ask the question again as the second question, because I always find it interesting. We always ask that question, and sometimes people are like spiders, right? And other times people are like, letting my kids down or whatever. So what scares you outside of that, right? Like what actually would make you like cringe or like be scared?
Oh, gotcha. Let's see here.
Which good answer the first one, right?
I would say being poor. I grew up in very humble beginnings, and so it's funny. I have like this psychological problem where I'm always running, you always should be running to something, not from something. But I'm like haunted by that. I have like I have a bag packed on my front door because I'm like, really, this is like I made this. We're in a good spot. Like it's going to come to an end at any point in time. So I'm always paranoid. I'm paranoid. Yeah. I'm crazy. Like I do not stay stagnant. I don't. My DNA won't let me. Like I'm a maniac. Like I have to be pressing forward, disrupting something and creating something and making something better all the time, or I get scared. Period.
Yeah. Third question. What is your favorite holiday and why?
Ooh, my favorite holiday. I like Thanksgiving. I think that's my favorite. And the reason that is because I love food and I love my beverages and I like my family. So Thanksgiving kind of gets that done at the highest level. I love to smoke meat. I'm a maniac when it comes to that. Like I'm a well-schooled smoker of meats.
What's your favorite thing to smoke?
Oh, brisket. Lamb shoulder.
Lamb?
Oh man, a lamb shoulder. Give me a lamb shoulder, boy. I'll make you want to smack your mama. Yeah, I love smoking the lamb. Getting the food out there, get some beverages and libations. I'll watch the kids play. Talk to the old heads, learn something, hang out with family.
Yeah, nice, man. Well, yeah, I think everyone can agree that Thanksgiving is not a bad time.
It's not. It's still fall, which I like. My favorite time of year, fall.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, we definitely appreciate you coming on the show here, man. Great to learn about you, your business, and where it's going. And I will absolutely call you. I'd like to sit down and see how we can help each other.
Awesome. Yeah, the privilege is all mine, gentlemen. Appreciate you having me on today.
Definitely, man.
Thank you.
We'll see you later. All right.
Take care.
See you, Scott. That was cool. Something different.
Yeah, that was great. I definitely have met him before, and I think I know where and under what circumstance. But yeah, I mean, that was.
Yeah.
I love learning all these different things. Like every week we do this. I always learn something new, and it's great.
Yeah, for sure, man. Well, we got a lot of work to do, so we'll get going.
Pile it up.
Yeah. All right, man. We'll see you later.
All right, man. Later.
Bye.
You've been listening to Inside Real Estate, the nation's top real estate podcast. Don't forget to follow us at irepodcast.com and everywhere where podcasts are available.